right, so kicking things off, we have Happy, Nappy, and Stress-Free. Yeah, well, that's a book of poetry written in the perspective of a young 14-year-old girl living in an urban community, writing about her everyday life dealings with issues common to what girls her age would face in urban environments. So here now to share more about the book, please welcome the co-authors of Happy, Nappy, and Stress-Free, Alrika Rickards and Janice Rivera. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having us.
And well, you know, my first question is, what inspired to write this book? What inspired both of you to write this book? Because there's a huge age gap between you guys.
Yes, there is.
Even though you look the same age. Okay, let's just get that straight.
Well, basically the inspiration came from us just working together. We were also former co-workers at a school in the Bronx. So we both taught writing. We always graded together, wrote together, inspired one another to have new ideas for lesson plans, and just, you know, sitting down with our students, hearing them talk about some of the experiences that they would go through at home. First we started Dance Effects, a dance program, and then we decided to come together and write this book just to give it a little more inspiration and be uplifting.
So whose story is it based off of?
Well, you know, it's just based off of just the stories we hear from our students. They come to us and they actually want to share their lives, and it's just therapeutic for them. And also from our own personal stories, and just teaching in this community for however many years we've been teaching, we've just gathered like a plethora of stories from different teens and different communities, and it's just really an issue for young girls where they feel like they don't really have an outlet. And at times they don't want to talk to their guidance counselors, they want to talk to their teachers, they want to talk to someone that they can actually relate to. So we just gathered these stories based off of just inspiration from them, inspiration from our own upbringing, and just what we've learned just across through the years.
So what are some of these stories we're referencing?
So some of the stories are going to talk about bullying, are going to talk about suicide. They're going to talk about funny things like popping a pimple or a pimple coming up right before picture day. They're also going to get into racism, identity, also feeling as if, wow, am I really enough? When do I begin to love myself? Who am I? So more so those type of topics.
Yes.
And also, sure, and also there's a big issue where girls are just going missing left and right. So that's also a poem in that book where this 14-year-old girl, her friend goes missing, and she's just like, but I saw her at 3 o'clock. I don't understand what's going on. So just having to deal with this community and being inside of this community where there's just a heavy load of racism, and her friends are, some of her friends are going through issues where they're dealing with bullying or they're actually bullying others and just suicidal, and we just wanted to share a lot of those, just what's actually happening now and what's really actually affecting our teens. And they have to sit, we teach at charter schools, they have to sit for 10 hours for instruction, and it's just like on top of having to deal with the community issues.
Right, and so just out of curiosity, because I think it's you who's really trying to enroll them to really dive into reading more regularly. One of you is working on really getting the youngins to just really appreciate the beauty of reading a book and kind of just escaping through those stories.
Absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
You, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did a poetry unit and earlier this year, and so they actually used that unit and the idea of writing poetry for therapy. And so just allowing them to have an outlet to communicate that way and form that narrative that it's okay to express yourself in the form that is creative. And also just having a curriculum that they can connect with, because as educators, we want to give them literature that they are going to connect with, that we can actually implement in our instruction. So this is the same thing for Janice, is that she at the time was teaching ACT special education students, and they had a lot of issues. So it's not just the academic issues, but they had a lot of issues at home, and so that also inspired her writing a lot.
So when we're talking about special education, right, just by the way you referenced it, it comes across as if though the issues are more emotional versus educational.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, a lot of the students that I've spoken to and inspired some of the literature in the book would talk to me about like not being able to communicate with their parents because their parents were like either very strict or they didn't want to accept the fact that their child is like not a baby anymore. How do I speak to my child about things such as liking other individuals or trying to start relationships outside of the home? Relationships at first, they're built, you know, off of your mom, your siblings, your family, but now just putting my child in a community where they have so much adversity to face. So my thing with the special education was to just give them an outlet of little sentence starters at first, just like an affirmation. Today I feel, today I will empower, today I will, and just giving them that outlet. So Alrika's poetry unit inspired some of my teaching as well. As you stated earlier, there is a bit of an age difference, but I think it's so inspirational.
How did I know that?
That I was able to work.
It's amazing though.
Right.
I love that you were able to come together
Yes.
and form this synergy to write a book. Having that gap, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so she really inspires me a lot. Even now, so there's times when I'm like, should I really make this decision right now? And she'll coach me through it. So through her coaching, I was able to write, be expressive, and now able to coach other young ladies in the same manner.
Right, and it's beautiful, right? You pay it forward. And not only that, you know, we become ageless when we surround ourselves with the next generation.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we
I practice
do.
Ebonics all the time. Just because I live in denial. Just saying. You know? So I can relate, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and just because we are all women of color at this table, let's just talk a little bit about the racism component of this, because I wonder if that has anything to do with them being in their immediate community or when they step out of their community, and how you're able to, I guess, prepare them for that in whatever coaching methods you use through the writing.
Well, you know, through media, and the media is the communication through the media, our students are able to see that there is like a big issue with racism. So whether they experience it within their community, they definitely see it all the time. They hear about it all the time, especially with the focus being on girls are being taken, but it's black girls that are being taken, and they're being taken at a high alarming rate. Aside from that, though, we have something embedded in our poetry. It's called My President is Trump. And we talk about how just that narrative and that conversation that our young people are having with us, because when he won, that was really big for us. And we had to go through a couple of days where we had to talk to them. A lot of them were crying. A lot of them were like outraged. And we didn't expect that. They're young. You know, we're not expecting them to actually connect with politics as much as they did. And so they recognize, well, I'm not the look that he likes. I'm not, you know, the person that he accepts, and he's my president. How does that make me feel? So that's also a component within that book, and that's also like a piece of literature that teachers can use and embed in that curriculum and have that discussion about racism, have that discussion about politics, have that discussion about how do our young people see themselves within this community, within this society, especially within just America, and just having to deal with this much racism. And also the reason for Happy Nappy and Stress Free, a lot of our young girls, especially with natural hair, the media and our societies, I'm telling them it's not okay.
Right.
It's not okay to have natural hair. It's not okay to be quote unquote nappy, but we're happy and we're nappy and we're stress free. So having to deal with all of the issues within our society, the entirety of the book is we're following this 14-year-old girl, and she's still having to deal with these battles, but she focuses on the positive, focuses on school, focuses on, hey, I have these things that are happening, but this is my goal. And when we are creating this book, we wanted to create a narrative where, yes, we are from this community. So we understand, and we were able to actually break out how did we do that.
Right.
So that's kind of how we wanted this girl to follow her journey to be. A journey that ends positively. A lot of times the literature that's within this community, it's just so negative. It gets to a point where it's drug dealers and this and that and that.
Right.
I want them to be able to connect with the book, but also see that there's a way out.
Right, I get it. And where can people get the book?
It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, iBooks, so any online
Bookseller.
component.
Yeah, and I just want to acknowledge you ladies for steering our next generation into the area of making different choices, right? Because that's what
you
it's
so
all
much.
about.
Absolutely.
No, thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing. Once again, you guys, to keep up to date on Happy Nappy and Stress Free, just, you can follow them on Instagram at Happy Nappy Stress Free. And of course, you can get the book on Amazon.com.